If you're a high performer in your role, chances are very high also that your relationship with technology actually decides how your days are going to turn out. So your inbox feels sacred, like no mail should be left unattended. You have to keep your phone very close, for notifications. You have to keep up with any and all notifications, apps, tools that can boost your productivity. But productivity is only worth it if you do not become a slave to technology. So much so that, your focus, your energy are compromised. So in this video, I'm going to share with you how to manage digital overwhelm for your mental health as a leader. And I'm going to go with you on a step-by-step basis, to uncover the hidden epidemic of digital exhaustion that could silently be hurting your mental and emotional well-being. And then I'm going to give you suggestions, very practical tools and strategies that you can apply, that you can start using starting today to break free from constant connectivity and the always-on culture. Hi, welcome back to my channel. And if we are meeting for the very first time, my name is Nancy. I'm a former airline professional turned workplace leadership trainer. I've equally authored books that are grounded in leadership at work, workplace leadership, customer experience, and their greater impact on your bottom line. And my most recent release, that's the 2026 release, being Undeniable Productivity for 365 Days. I wrote this book for professionals who want to start the year strong and end the year feeling whole. Leadership and customer experience, these are two fields that have defined my professional trajectory and literally introduced me to my deeper why, introduced me to my voice. So you're going to find me mostly on this platform discussing topics or matters of the same, workplace leadership, professional growth, career advancement, as you endeavor to protect your mental and emotional well-being. So if you are in a leadership role or you aspire to take up one soon, I strongly believe that my kind of content will resonate with you. Kindly consider subscribing, press that notifications button on your screen and you will be receiving timely updates whenever I release a new video. And thank you so much for joining and growing in this community. It actually goes a long way, and I don't take it for granted. The always-on culture can silently steal your peace of mind, especially when you're not in tune with your inner self to know when to press pause, when to press stop, when to start again. So if you've sensed lately that your focus is literally slipping, you cannot concentrate on one thing even for more than 20 or 25 minutes, and you feel like your energy levels are literally dropping, they're decreasing with all the daily fires that you have to put out, and yet you have nothing tangible to show for it at the end of the day, nothing tangible to show for the productivity. Your patience with your peers and teams is literally getting shorter by the minute. You snap at people, then you regret almost immediately. And your brain has all these compartments that are open in the name of to-do lists, but none is complete. I need you to stay with me. By the end of this video, you're going to have a clear personal framework that you can start using immediately. I mean, today, to protect your focus, to protect your nervous system, to protect emotional balance and your leadership quality without guilt or even that feeling that you're falling behind. And the best place to start is to understand what digital exhaustion is. Burnout is often about workload. Burnout is about pressure. Burnout is about emotional depletion over time. But digital exhaustion is it's a very specific kind of overload. It's what happens when your brain basically is being interrupted all day long. It's not that you're doing too much. Your brain is just being interrupted, but too often. Imagine a situation whereby you open your inbox with the sole intention of sending one email, but 25 minutes later you're in what we call a deep thread titled quick question, but there's nothing quick about it because 25 minutes later you're still there. Or you're in this strategy meeting and someone is talking and your phone lights up. Your watch buzzes, also reminding you of where you're expected to be after this meeting. At that same time, there's a tiny note that comes through the door of someone waiting for you in the lobby or at the reception, depending on how you call it. And you're here smiling, you're acting calm, but inside you're thinking, oh my goodness, this is a lot. This is a lot. I cannot breathe. I cannot think straight. These are little interruptions that force your brain to switch context, to make micro decisions and stay on alert all day. Or you finish work, but your nervous system does not necessarily finish with you. So you're physically at home, but mentally you're still at work. And the reality is you're expected to be strategic, but also instantly responsive. You're leading people here. You have to deliver results, but you also have to manage emotional labor that comes with leading the people. You're trying to stay polished, but your brain is secretly screaming. With time, you're going to start experiencing what you call decision fatigue, where you start avoiding decisions because everything feels heavy. And you're going to notice a major dip in your creativity because your brain cannot just go to its happy place and connect ideas when it's constantly being pulled and pushed in different directions. And then your name slowly starts becoming synonymous with a short fuse because you get irritated faster. People start operating on eggshells around you. You're not angry, you're just overstimulated, and this can eventually trickle down to your relationships, your inner circle, because even when you're present with the people that you care about, you're not fully present, and people feel it. Digital exhaustion does not just steal your time, it actually steals the quality of your mind. So yes, burnout can come from pressure. Burnout can come from workload, and that is over time. But digital exhaustion has its roots in unspoken expectations where you feel like you have to be available all the time. So now we're going to address literally how we got here, how we got to digital exhaustion. How do you get trapped in this digital exhaustion? And most people in leadership don't stay always on because they love it. They do it because they are calculating risks. Call it FOMO effect, that fear of missing out. You want to be identified amongst the top performers in your field, in your organization, your department. So you find yourself thinking, you know what, if I don't respond fast, I might seem incompetent. If I'm not available, I might be overlooked. If I set boundaries, people might start to label me as difficult. And this unfortunately affects women because there's often that extra pressure to be liked. There's that pressure to be helpful. You have that pressure to be easy to work with. So you over respond, you over accommodate, you stay reachable. And the always on culture does not reward the healthiest person in the room. It actually rewards the most reachable person. I really, really need this one to sink in. I came from the aviation industry. The mantra was very clear. My safety comes first. My health comes first, So you're telling yourself that you're only useful to an organization if you're in the best shape health-wise to deliver results. The problem with always being on is that there are these blurred lines where work is automatically weaved into your personal life. So work is no longer at work. You have your laptop with you all the time. You have it at dinner on the table. You go with it to bed. Sometimes you even go with it, carry it with you to the bathroom. And the worst part is that it's not even the volume of your work, it's actually the invasion into your personal life, the way work shows up into your nervous system at random times, the way your brain never just gets that clean signal that it's safe to power down. And it's going to struggle with this because every notification is a mini attention hijack. So your brain has to stop what it's doing. It has to stop focusing on what it's focusing on and switch context, decide if it's urgent, and then try to re-enter your previous thought. And that re-entry cost is exhausting. So if you've been thinking to yourself, why can't I just focus like I used to? You're not lazy or weak. And no, you're not undisciplined. You're just distracted, and you're distracted because your brain keeps getting pulled and pushed into these micro emergencies all day, every day. This is not the time to start throwing your phone away or even going into what you call a digital detox fantasy. What you need is a real framework that is actually going to work hand in hand with your professional life and actually help you disengage, but with less effort, with less friction. So let's get practical with it. Now I'm going to give you your personal framework. And as a leader, your attention is actually a resource. You want to treat it as such. So start treating it like a budget. Step 1, apply the digital downtime audit. Like for the next 3 days, just note down, what apps are pulling you in the most. What time of the day do you feel like your focus reduces or disappears completely? Which notifications actually create anxiety? Which conversations could have waited but did not? Put it all on paper, or note it in your notes app. because if you can name it, you can actually address it more effectively. And what you're doing here is you're identifying where your brain is being overtaxed without your context, without your consent. And you're going to discover that the problem is not just too many emails, it's actually the constant checking, the constant checking all the time. It's the anticipation. It's that feeling that you have to reply immediately, that you are always on call. And then step 2, you're going to bring in your leadership angle by introducing the focus blocks. Focus shows leadership capacity. So start by creating at least one focus block per day. Even if it's just 60 minutes, check it, it's an hour per day. And inside that hour of focus, you tell yourself, all notifications off, email is closed, Slack off. And it's going to feel odd at first because it has to take root first, but once this happens, you want to make it a daily thing where you tell yourself, for example, between 10 and 12, that's my deep work block, no notifications. Between 12 and 12:20, that's my response window. Between 16:30 and 1700, I'm going to be doing a final sweep of the day and I'll be planning for the next day. And if you're thinking, what if someone needs to reach me during my focus block time? That's what's here. That's where, that's where your response windows come in. That's what they're for. And that is where you check the messages and respond. And this is going to give you that structured communication, which in turn is actually going to boost your productivity. Step number 3, communication curfew is actually going to come in specifically as your emotional safety angle. Your brain needs an off-ramp, that signal that it can stop scanning for danger. So put in place a simple boundary, something along the lines of no email after 7 p.m., no reading notifications after 9 p.m., one scheduled check-in on weekends, not the constant monitoring. And you're probably thinking to yourself, again, but what if something happens? What if I have to be reached? And what if I cannot be reached? Most urgent messages are only urgent because we've trained our people to expect urgency. So to keep your credibility intact, say something along the lines of, I'm heads down in the morning, but I will respond after 12, after midday. Or if it's urgent, please call me on this line. I go offline after 7 p.m. every day to prepare for the next day. This is you creating boundaries that are actually going to protect your mental health, your physical health, your emotional well-being. And the final part of this framework is deliberate disconnect. This is rejuvenation with intention. Simply put, you're actually just choosing recovery, but without losing progress. And we've seen that you cannot squeeze strategic thinking out of an overstimulated mind. So you have to choose your disconnect. It could be 30 minutes a day walk without your phone, or 1 to 2 hour block a week without screens, even a Sunday evening reset. This is something that I personally swear by, without notifications, just to plan for the week ahead. And here you're actually being intentional about recalibrating, and this is what is going to bring you back sharper. And now I'm going to give you the tactical tools that we talked about, the tactical tools and habits that are going to help you reduce that noise and reduce it fast. Call it the tactical tools and habits. There's a difference between using technology for good and allowing technology to use you. Leadership is not about being anti-technology. It's actually about being pro-mental clarity. So here are some tactical shifts that can actually make an immediate difference. First, turn off all non-human notifications. Like if it's not a real person, it doesn't get to interrupt your brain. And I'm talking about the news alerts that you keep receiving on your phone, social media, the random app notifications. Just turn them off. Then second, remove those badges. Those red bubbles are actually anxiety triggers because they train your brain to scan and react, sometimes with immediacy. And then number 3, create VIP access for yourself, meaning a few people can reach you if it's really, really, really urgent. And this could be members of your inner circle, members of your family, your direct report, the key stakeholders in your organization, and everyone else has to go through the normal channels. And then the 4th, use your calendar as a boundary to, just block your focus time and protect it like protect it like you'd protect a meeting with your CEO. And the truth is, if everything can reach you, then nothing can get your best attention, nothing can get your best thinking. And then another habit worth adopting is asynchronous communication, where you stop living in immediate reply mode. Not everything requires instant response. Not everything requires an immediate, response. Just think about it. You're not paid for speed. You're actually paid for judgment, and the right judgment call. So to introduce asynchronous communication, but with the least friction, you want to set expectations and set them clearly. Like, I'm going to respond at 12 and 4 p.m. And then teach your team members to use subject lines with urgency tags if it's actually urgent, like urgent today, FYI, so that they can sort out what's real urgency from what's just noise. And also, you want to encourage fewer pings. Like, if you can batch updates together, please batch them. Fast replies can actually feel productive at first, but thoughtful replies are what will protect your leadership quality. And now, for the final piece, you want to normalize micro breaks. And this is for the hygiene, literally for the hygiene of your nervous system. And the sweet spot for your micro break menu is between 30 and 90 seconds. So before opening your inbox, just take 3 deep breaths. After every meeting, stand up, stretch, close your eyes for at least 60 seconds and just let your mind reset. Do a quick body scan, your jaws, your shoulders, your chest. This is your way of actually protecting your system from running on red all day, every day, by creating interruptions to the stimulation loop. And you're going to notice that when you manage this digital overwhelm, when you manage the digital overwhelm, you don't just feel better. Your leadership quality is automatically going to be upgraded. And what's important now is how you can actually turn this into your new normal. We're going to call it sustained well-being, well-being for the long run. And here, this is where we're actually looking at the long-term benefits. Once the digital overwhelm has dropped or been done away with, like the after picture, where you'll be experiencing clearer thinking. You'll have that calmer presence about you. You're going to be able to make better decisions. You find yourself experiencing less emotional reactivity. You find that you'll be enjoying more creativity, and to top it, you'll actually have higher quality relationships. That moment when you stop feeling like, oh my goodness, I'm sprinting all day, every day, and your role as a leader now takes on a new meaning positively. So you're going to notice that your patience has actually improved and your strategic thinking will be back online. Just keep in mind that as a leader, the moment you take a leadership role, you're always being watched by your peers and your colleagues alike. So it's on you to model what's acceptable. If you respond at midnight, you are silently admitting that midnight work is normal. If you never disconnect, people are going to take it like, constant availability is expected from you. It's not selfish to set boundaries. If anything, this is a leadership standard. So the moment you protect your focus, you're also giving other people within your team, your colleagues, your friends, permission to protect theirs. And it's your way of creating a culture of intentional connectivity where focus is respected, deep work is normal, and people are not performing urgency around you all day. And you're going to notice that you don't have to be reachable to be respected. Your value is not tied to your availability, and mental clarity has a direct link to your safety and overall well-being, your emotional well-being. And just like I was taught, your safety comes first. Your health comes first. So here's what you can do right after this video. Just pick one thing, just one. It could be a response window, it could be a focus block, it could even be just turning off all these unnecessary notifications, and then start there. I hope you received value from this video, and if you did, please comment in the comment section with the word clarity and tell me what your biggest takeaway, your biggest trigger could be. Maybe it's email, or constant checking, or even the notifications we've talked about. I'd really love to know whatever it is that you could be dealing with that I have mentioned in this video, so that I can create more support around it. And also feel free to share this video with a friend or two who may stand to benefit from this kind of content. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing and pressing that notifications button on your screen to receive timely updates whenever I release a new video. And then, just take a moment to have a look at this video right here on how to turn anxiety into your secret leadership asset, your secret leadership superpower. It actually goes hand in hand with this video, and it's going to shed light on some of the things that we have discussed so far. Thank you so much for your company, and see you on the next one. Bye.